In the 2023 offseason, we have seen some great players change teams so far, like CJ Gardner-Johnson, Za'darius Smith, Jessie Bates, and more. There are times where a seemingly average player changes teams and becomes an absolute stud. And today, we're going to take a look into 3 of those players. But before I do get in this video, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. All support is very much appreciated, helps more than you can see. Now, let's get right into my list. To start off my list, we have edge rusher Matthew Judon. Judon was drafted by the Baltimore Ravens in the 5th round of the 2016 NFL Draft. In his 2nd and 3rd year, he became the primary starter, however he still rotated in and out with other pass rushers. In those years, he had 8 and 7 sacks. But his 4th year in Baltimore was a really good beginning to a new Matthew Judon. In all 16 games, he sacked the quarterback 9.5 times and made the Pro Bowl. This was in his contract year, so the Ravens franchise tagged him after they were not able to lock down a long-term deal. In his 5th year, kind of same results. Made the Pro Bowl, but only had 6 sacks this year. I honestly don't know how he made the Pro Bowl that year, but he did, so good for him, I guess. After not being able to finish a long-term deal again, Judon tested free agency. This is when he found his new home in Foxborough, with a new 4-year, $56 million deal with $32 million guaranteed with the Patriots. At this time, some, including myself, would say it was an overpay, given that he had never had a double-digit sack season up to that point, and I can understand that. However, in his first year, he shut up anyone that doubted the contract. After joining Bill Belichick, one of the best defensive minds in NFL history, he blew up. In his first season with New England, in 2021, he had 64 pressures, 12.5 sacks, a 17% win percentage, 49 stops, made the Pro Bowl, and was the only productive pass rusher for the team. Now, some would say that a big part of his production was because of the increase in snaps. In his last year in Baltimore, he only played in 52.9% of snaps. However, last season, in his first year with the Patriots, 84%. He also has a very high motor, so he never gave up on those plays, and that was a big part of making the contract justifiable. And it's even more justifiable now after 2022, where he had 15.5 sacks, 69 pressures, a 14.8 win percentage, and 48 stops. He was very close to making the second-team All-Pro, but Hassan Reddick and Myles Garrett had absolutely dominant seasons on the edge for Philly and Cleveland. Judon and co-star Josh Uche were a great duo this season, combining for 27 sacks. But Matthew Judon absolutely solidified himself as a top 10 edge rusher in the NFL after leaving the Ravens. Keep in mind, according to a PFF article before the 2021 season, his first in New England, he was ranked as the 31st best edge rusher. Now that he's thrived the way he has since joining the Patriots, nobody will have him outside the elites. The second guy on this list is kind of cheating because it is safety Minkah Fitzpatrick. Minkah was drafted in 2018 by the Miami Dolphins with the 11th overall pick, and he played just 18 games there. He was both a cornerback and a safety for Miami in his 1 year and 2 games, and in his rookie season had just a 59.2 coverage grade. It was reported that Minkah just simply did not want to play for Miami and was traded in week 3 of the 2019 season alongside some picks to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a first-round pick, which ended up being Austin Jackson, of all people, and a late-round picks. Almost immediately after arriving to Pittsburgh, Minkah showed out as their new free safety, going from a 30.3 coverage grade in his 2 games with Miami that year to an 87.6 with the Steelers. In that time span of week 3 to 17, he ranked 6th in that category. In the 14 games he played in Pittsburgh that year, he had 5 interceptions, 2 defensive touchdowns, 57 tackles, had the second lowest passer rating against, and a 31% forced incompletion percentage. Minkah would continue to shine with the Steelers, garnering 12 more interceptions, with 6 coming in 2022, which was tied for the league lead. And in the last 3 years, he has proved to be one of the best safeties against the run, and just an overall game wrecker. Nowadays, heading into the 2023 season, he's an undoubtedly top 3 safety, who is at the top of the league in being able to run zone coverage, and can definitely hold his own in man coverage. And last summer, to prove all of this, he signed an, at the time, record-breaking 4-year extension for safeties, worth $73.6 million. For the last guy on our list, we will stay in Pittsburgh. Defensive tackle Javon Hargrave was selected in the 3rd round of the 2016 NFL Draft by the Steelers. He was immediately the starting nose tackle and played pretty decently in his 4 years in Pittsburgh. His first 2 years were not much to talk about, but he came alive in years 3 and 4, posting decent enough grades and solidifying himself as a consistent nose tackle. After year 4, he would stay in the state of Pennsylvania after him and the Steelers could not come to an extension, and he would sign with the Philadelphia Eagles on a 3-year, $39 million deal. The Gravedigger put up 4.5 sacks, he was 5th in pass rush grade at 83.3, the highest rank of his career at this point, and had an 84% stop rate. However, 2021, his second year with the Steelers, he had 7.5 sacks, a team lead at the time. 2nd in pass rush grade out of all defensive linemen at 91.6, he was 6th in pressures among defensive linemen, and he made the Pro Bowl. That 2021 season was all he needed to prove that he was one of the best pass rushing defensive tackles in all of football. But 2022, my God, it was a different story. Hargrave was by far the 2nd best defensive tackle behind Chris Jones this year. After adding more firepower to the defensive line, with Hassan Reddick and a healthy Brandon Graham to the mix, the whole front 7 went absolutely crazy. Hargrave had 11 sacks, 91.1 pass rush grade, 3rd in pressures among defensive linemen, and tied for 2nd on the team in sacks. The scheme switch from traditional nose tackle to a pass rushing defensive tackle made Hargrave into a top 5 defensive tackle with no questions asked. He's been an absolute force and has improved as a run defender as well, an area where he struggled at times in his career. Some may say that he garnered a lot of his statistical production because of the talent around him, but he also fit very well into the scheme and showed dominance rushing through the interior of the offensive line, powering through any and all offensive linemen that came his way. And now, at 30 years old, he entered free agency and got a huge deal with the San Francisco 49ers. 4 years worth $84 million. Now let's just see if he can have a similar improvement in the Bay Area like he did in Philadelphia. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that there are many other instances of players going to other teams and becoming dogs. We have Emmanuel Sanders, Wes Welker, CJ Gardner-Johnson, and to an extent, Stephon Gilmore. Sometimes all it takes is a new scheme, coaching, new environment, or position switch for a player to break out. Matthew Judon, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and Javon Hargrave all clearly had amazing skills before, but moving to new schemes set them up to thrive and become elite players at their positions. But trust me, the exact opposite has happened before. And with all that being said, that is it for me, guys. Thank you for tuning into Fanatic Sports. If you made this fun video, come on, just give it a like and subscribe to the channel. All support is very much appreciated, helps me out more than you know. Also, follow me on Instagram at FanaticSports25, and where I'm most active, being Twitter and TikTok, at Fanatic Sports. This is Joe of Fanatic Sports, signing off.